Ruud van Nistelrooy. Tra-la-la-la. Do you know what? I can't actually explain to you how excited I am. Listen, is this like the way we got excited with Ollie? Yep. Is this the way we got excited with Ralph Ragnick? Yep. And I'm excited again, right? And it's going to happen again because, listen, I've just got an irrational love for some people, and Ruud van Nistelrooy is one of the people that I have got an irrational love from. One of the greatest strikers that I ever saw at Manchester United. In terms of just like raw ability, Ruud was an absolute joke. He's got 150 goals for United in 219 games. He was an absolute goal machine. And a genuine goal machine. Now, I think the system wasn't quite right during Ruud's time, and the one Premier League title should be way more for what he achieved at Manchester United, but that was the nature of it. He was an absolute flyer, and he's done quite well as a coach, it must be said. He made great strides in his development recently. It took a little bit of time for him. He spent 7 years with PSV, working his way up through the various different youth team coaching roles. We had him on Vibe with Five when he was talking about that, actually. Under 18s, under 21s, and the senior team. He spent a season with PSV as head coach and left because of a lack of support. And he did deliver them 2 trophies in that time. They were also nicely secure inside the top 3 under his tutelage as well, finishing second because of his efforts. And he said, my playing career had been one of a long build-up, and I needed that time, and I feel the same about coaching. Now, is he an all-out attack coach because he was a striker? Little bit, actually. Yeah, little bit. And there's a quote here from him as well, which says, I love the game, and I love a certain way of playing. At United, Sir Alex was always pushing us forward, look forward, play forward, get crosses in, shoot on target. And as a player, I love the way that made me feel. And he says, I want to be like that, and I want to transmit the same feeling to my team and to my players. On the attack, his teams do relentlessly push forward. They attack from wide areas, and they attempt to get past their man 1v1. And we haven't really seen that successfully at United since the last striker that we had that we put in charge, really, where United were very good at taking people on, third man runs, link play under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But he is about control as well. And the entire philosophy that he had as a PSG coach, a head coach, was about being compact and gaining control. And it didn't matter what they had to do to get it. His team did drop back to get control. They would do that. They would press high and win the ball back high. He liked to seem to go with the zonal press, which requires a team to work together, a bit of harmony. Everyone has to engage, can't have anyone tossing it off or cheating. Because that creates gaps and it weakens it. United's press has been one of the major issues for us tactically this season. So if Ruud going to come in and fix that alone, that's a big positive. And obviously he's learned from the best. It goes without saying. He's played for some of the best managers to have ever lived. Sir Alex Ferguson alone would be one that's worth talking about, but we all know his work under Sir Alex Ferguson. So Bobby Robson is one that's impacted him, especially when it comes to the man management side. And I don't think there's a player that played for Sir Bobby Robson that doesn't absolutely love him. And he said, as a player, the most important thing I took from working with Sir Bobby Robson and Sir Alex was their relationship with individuals. He goes, it's not a football player, it's a person. And when you reach that connection, you get the best out of people. And from there, you can help them build their careers. And I never let that thought out of my mind. Obviously, he's worked with youth. He came up the ranks as a coach, coaching youngsters. And that's seen him work a lot with the youngsters that have came through at PSV. He's worked closely with Xavi Simons, supposedly a big part in his development post-PSG. And if he was to join United, I can only see it becoming as an assistant. And then I question what that means for Steve McLaren. Does Steve McLaren keep the title of assistant and take over a more sort of administrative assistant in the way that Mike Phelan was, where he would go around and be a bit of a temperature check for the players, whereas Ruud's the one that's actually hands-on, working with the players. You know, what could he do for Rasmus Højlund alone? The technical elements, the sort of killer instinct that Ruud had. Imagine that in Rasmus Højlund. Those things that mere regular coaches can't teach. Ruud van Nistelrooy is not that guy. You know, his pedigree, his stature in the game, the ruthless edge that he brings, it could be absolutely sensational for us. Now, he is linked with the head coach job, the manager job at Burnley. So you've got to think, coming to Manchester United, is that because maybe Ineos are not convinced with Erik ten Hag? Is he just bolstering his staff with like a real selection of American football style coaches? You know, your special teams coach, your offense coach, your defense coach, your head coach, your coordinator. Is it something like that Ineos are looking to try and build? Or is it the replacement is already in the building should Erik ten Hag need to go? No, there's a lot of experience inside Ruud van Nistelrooy that would be beneficial for us to have. And you know, the one thing that I do hear about Erik ten Hag is he is not the greatest man manager in the world, but he is a meticulous planner and tactician. Does Ruud come in with what he's already said about Bobby Robson and Sir Alex Ferguson and trying to get to know players on a personal level? Does he come in and, I can't even believe I'm saying this about Ruud van Nistelrooy because someone that was known to be as ruthless as he was, but does he come in and maybe become the arm around the shoulder guy? The one that demands more from them in training? Either way, I think it's quite an interesting appointment. Now, if we're being neutral and unbiased as possible on this one, you have to look at the negatives as well as the overwhelming positives, and I can't hide my excitement. His time at PSV did come to a bit of an abrupt end. The side had all but secured second in the Eredivisie, and he left before the final game of the season, one of the most important games for the club throughout the entire season. Now, the reason for that was because of disagreements behind his tactical setups. Now, you can argue that you're not necessarily hiring him for his technical nous, but it's something you have to consider. If the players are asking questions at PSV, one, why? And two, is that going to be an issue at Manchester United where player power is already a bit of an issue? Hopefully that's something easy to sort out. Hopefully that's something that's been explored and explained in any sort of interview. It seems like United want Ruud. It seems like Ruud wants United. I hope Erik ten Hag wants United and he's not being given Ruud van Nistelrooy, because that could make it real frosty. But this is a coach that's got potential to really shake things up, I think, at Carrington. We've lost Benny McCarthy. I don't think you hire Ruud van Nistelrooy just to be your striking coach. I feel that's beneath him. But you've already got an assistant in Steve McLaren. The dynamics of how this is announced and what his role is and how it fits in are going to be very, very interesting. But on the surface of it, it's something I think that's quite a positive move. I fucking love Ruud. I absolutely love Ruud. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I'll see you in the next. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.